guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Vlogtober video. So I wanted to do like an October TBR, but I wanted to do it like a little differently. I might be living in South Africa, but I am getting like FOMO from like all the fall videos and all the fall vibes that the YouTubers that I watch are giving. So I thought maybe I'd do like a fall video, even though we are technically in spring. But yeah, so these are gonna be like, mainly it's going to be like my TBR, but there's also going to be like a couple of books here and there that I'm going to recommend. Books that, not necessarily books that I personally would read, but there are some books that I feel like just give me the fall vibes, and I thought I'd just like recommend them. So this is going to be like an October TBR slash recommendations, but the recommendations, there aren't really all that many that I wanted to recommend. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to be talking about maybe around 20-ish books, but yeah. So the first category is, these are the books that give me all the fall vibes. These are the ones that have the pretty little fall covers, the ones that just by looking at them you can tell that it's fall, and the titles of them give very fall-esque vibes. So yes, so the first one is What a Match by Mimi Grace. Now this book, it's giving black romance, it's giving, the book, it's such a beautiful, it's got such a beautiful cover, and I read the premise of it, the description of it, and it is a best friend's sister romance, and that is not my jam. That is not my jam at all. I do not like books where I'm reading about a person and you're falling in love with the brother or their sister's sibling, you know, like your best friend's brother or sister. I don't like that trope at all, and I stay clear from that trope because it irritates me. So this one is the second book in the, I don't know what the book series is called, but it's the second book in that series. The first one, however, is the one that I want to read, and that one doesn't give very fall vibes, but I'm just gonna mention it because that's the one that I definitely feel like I'm going to read. And that one is Make a Scene by Mimi Grace. That's the one that I feel like the description and the premise of it, it seems like something I'd really be interested in, and that's definitely the one that I'm going to read. Although it doesn't give very fall-esque vibes, the second book is what gives very fall. But yeah, I just thought I'd like mention both of them because that second one is definitely on my TBR. Then the next one on my recommendations is by Katie Cicitelli Cook. Oh my gosh, I literally just butchered that. I'll just write the name down there. Katie Cicitelli Cook. Okay, whatever. But it's pumpkin spice and everything nice. And this is a romance between kids that are 16, which is not my jam. I don't think I care for that, but it gave all the fall vibes. It gave the fall vibes, so I just thought I'd also like put that in my recommendations. It gave all the fall vibes, and it's a romance between a girl. I think they both of their parents own like coffee shops, and so the guy's parents own the coffee shop that just came closer to where theirs was, and they're kind of like rival coffee shop owners, but she's had like a crush on him. So those type of vibes. But yeah, the next one is The Good Lie by A.R. Torre, or is it Tor? Yeah. And this one gave me like fall vibes because I think it's mainly just that lighting. It's giving very orangey, you know. But yes, I definitely want to read this book. This book has been on my TBR for like a really long time. I definitely feel like I'm going to be reading it in the month of October. And I think this one is the one where a man is accused of being like a serial killer and he goes to prison, and then a psychiatrist is brought along to like investigate, I think, and then she kind of starts falling in love with the man that's like, you know, behind bars. Well, not investigate, but kind of just like look into the issue, something like that. But yes, that one is definitely on my TBR, and I definitely plan on reading it, and it probably will be in the vlogs that I'll be doing this month. So yeah. The next one is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. This book is so beautiful. The one after this one is also really beautiful, and I really need to have these books like as soon as yesterday because I definitely want to read both of them. The covers are calling my name. The covers are speaking to me. The covers are beautiful, okay? It's a romance. I don't know what it's about. I kind of forgot what it's about, but it's a romance and the premise sounded really interesting. So I definitely will be reading this one, and I definitely will be reading this one. That's all I can say. Next one is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, also by Lori Gilmore. And this is about books. So I forgot what the premise was about, but it also sounded pretty interesting, and it's also a book that I definitely plan on reading. And the cover is also really beautiful. So these two, I didn't really base them off of vibes because I really did like the premise of both of them. But this one's also about like books, you know, so who doesn't like a book about books? But okay, and then the next one is Fall Into You by Caroline Frank. Caroline Frank. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is going to be, or this is a book that's on my TBR, but it was definitely giving all the fall vibes, and I love the cover of it. Like, I absolutely love the cover of it. But the premise and the trope of the book isn't really something that it's small time romance, and I don't know, just the premise didn't sound very appealing to me, so I don't think it's gonna be on my TBR. But I just thought I'd recommend it because it's giving all the full vibes. It's giving all the full vibes. Then the next category is all the spooky vibes. Now these, I selected a few because if you think about it, a lot of like thrillers already gives like spooky vibes, okay? But I wanted to go for the ones that the covers are like a house or like a haunted house or something like that. But I also didn't want it to be horror because I personally don't like reading horror books, and it would seem very weird for me to recommend horror books knowing fully well that I would never read that book, you know. With the books that I'm going to put like say on my TBR, it's books that I could read if somebody actually told me that they were really good. Like some of them I'm like, they don't seem appealing to me and they're not on my TBR, but I could read them. Like it's not impossible. But with horror, so I wanted to go for books that like they give all the spooky vibes, but they're not horror, and vibes, I guess. Vibes. So the ones I'm going to start with are ones that I've actually already read, and they give off all vibes. So the first one is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I read this one not too long ago. That was like the first Riley Sager book that I read, and I have like a vlog where I'm like testing out Riley Sager because it was my first time reading Riley Sager, where I read 3 of his books and I like just tested them out. Well, currently I've read only 2. I'm still like in the process of like finishing off that vlog. But yes, this book gives all the spooky vibes. The cover on it is like a house, and it gives all the spooky vibes. I'm not gonna say too much about how I felt about the book because that's gonna be in a vlog that's probably gonna be up before the end of the month. So stay tuned for that vlog. But yes, and then the next book is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This one, the cover of the book gives very in the woods. It gives in the woods, gives very spooky vibes. But I will say the book itself isn't very spooky vibey because I have read it. It isn't very spooky vibey, but the cover gives all the vibes. And then the next one that I'm going to talk about is What Lies in the Woods by Katie Ellis Marshall. This one, again, it's in the woods. It gives all the vibes. It gives all the spooky vibes. Yes. Unlike A Flicker in the Dark, I feel like with this one though, it is based off of something that happened in the woods, and there are some scenes, maybe like more towards the end of the book, where it's like still happening in the woods. So I feel like this one would be more the spooky vibes than the previous one, but yes. And I also really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed A Flicker in the Dark, and I also really, really enjoyed this one. And yeah, I think it's in one of my previous rankings, the ranking that I did. I'll just put it up here. But yes. Okay, and then the next one is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Gillig. Yes. Maybe I pronounced that completely wrong. But I've seen a lot of people actually really like this book, and I actually couldn't tell you what this book is about, but a lot of people seem to like it, and this one is definitely on my TBR. It's a book I've been wanting to read for a little bit now. I forgot what the premise is about, because I watch other people's videos all the time, and I'm on TikTok all the time, and I when I hear people talking about books, I just like screenshot them or I make a mental note of the book. But then sometimes I just forget what the book is about a little bit. But I know this one's on my TBR for sure, and I've been wanting to read for a little bit now. So next one is Don't Let Her Stay by Nicola Sanders. This thriller, can you see the cover of this? This is giving all the spooky vibes. This is about a woman whose stepdaughter comes to come and stay with them because she wants to like form a relationship with her stepdaughter. And so the stepdaughter comes to come stay with them, and she has a newborn baby, and she's just figured maybe the stepdaughter could like help me with the newborn baby and whatever, and we could like be a grand old family. But things don't go according to plan, and something could be wrong with the stepdaughter. The stepdaughter could be trying to make her go crazy, or just like be trying to cause trouble. And yes, so that definitely sounded really appealing to me, and it gave off very creepy vibes. It gives creepy vibes. So that one is definitely a thriller that is on my TBR. The next one is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole. I'll put the surname here because I'm definitely going to butcher that. And this one is basically, as the title says, about a person who is going to be an assistant to a villain, and they start to fall for one another. So that's basically it. And I was like, I'm game. Villain, I'm game. Falling for each other sounds interesting. It's not like your typical romance, basically, is the vibes that I'm getting off of this book. And although the cover doesn't give very spooky vibes, it has the word villain in it. I mean, so to me, in my mind, it made sense. It made sense to put it there. Definitely made sense. And it's definitely on my October TBR. So I was like, if it had to be anywhere, it has to be giving all the spooky vibes. Next one is One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. Now, this book is about a person who has multiple personalities. Is that what it's called? Like multiple personality disorder? Yes. So, I have watched Split. I've watched Split, and the cover is giving very spooky vibes. But I've watched Split, and that movie messed me up so badly. It gave me all the creeps, and it wasn't even a horror, but it creeped me out so badly. For that reason alone, I'm not going to read this book, like ever, but I just felt like it made sense to put it here. But it's about a woman who basically has multiple personalities, and that's all I needed to know. That was all that I needed to know. But yeah, the cover is giving spooky. So yeah. The next one is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulek. I'm going to be butchering people's names so badly. It's not even funny, but forgive me. So this one is about a person who goes to be a nanny for a boy, and the boy starts drawing pictures, and as he's like drawing the pictures come, they start off okay, but then the more the child continues to draw these pictures become more descriptive and a bit more creepier and just creepy. And yeah, in the book there's also like the pictures are also like in the book. The pictures that the child draws are also like in the book. And the pictures start getting very spooky. The pictures start getting very weird and not like the type of pictures that, like, I think the child's 8 or something like that. But not the type of pictures that a child should be drawing or would be able to draw or anything like that. So definitely giving all the spooky vibes. Definitely a book that you would want to read this October. And as a book you should actually read around Halloween. But yes. And then the next category, I thought I'd make it all the witchy vibes. And I don't really, I can't remember the last time I read a book about witches in it. I honestly cannot remember the last time I read a book about witches in it. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This one I think is about a woman who hexes her ex, and then things, she just, to her it seems like it's like harmless spells, but then bad things start to happen to him, so then she kind of has to figure out a way alongside him to break the spell. Yeah, the next one, it's a really long name title, so I'm just gonna look here. It's The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. This is about a woman who's has this thing that magic, after the fourth heartbreak, that's when your magic gets like super intense. So she's already had 3, and the fourth one I think is, I can't remember, is her mother dying or a family member is dying, either her mother or her grandmother is dying, and then she also meets somebody, and so she has to decide if she's going to like lose that person and something like that. I don't know, it made sense in my head. In my head it makes sense, but as I'm like trying to explain it, not so much. But it's giving all the witchy vibes. It's got magic, you know, it's giving all the witchy vibes. This next one, this one's been on my TBR for a little bit now, and yes, it's Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. And as the cover says, it's about a girl who's walking around with half a soul, and she's not sure if she's going to be able to find love because she's, you know, walking around with half a soul. She was like charmed, and she's just walking around with half a soul. And yeah, so I think then she meets a man who kind of like falls for her, and then things go from there. It's kind of like a romance, but the premise sounded really good to me, and I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting, I need to read this. And yes, so this is also definitely in my TBR, and this next one has been on my TBR for a little bit now, and I still haven't read it, so I'm going to put it in this video again because it's also giving all the witchy vibes. This one is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Cicerelli, and it's basically about a woman who is like a witch, but she's like hiding in plain sight. Nobody knows that she's a witch, and then she starts to fall, or they both fall in love with each other, and she falls for a witch hunter, and he doesn't know that she is the witch. She is a witch, and he's a witch hunter. So yeah, I think that's what it's about. Unless I have it completely all wrong, then my bad. But yes, I think that's the premise of that one, and it sounded really interesting, and I've heard a lot of people recommending this book and that it's really, really good. So I'm like, I'm gonna put it on my TBR, and hopefully I can actually read it this time around. But yes, this next romance, it also has like a long title. So it's The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. Now with this one, it's about a witch who falls in love with a man. That's all that I know, and it sounded really interesting. The premise sounded really interesting, and the description sounded really interesting, and I was like, ooh, I want to read this. And it's been on my TBR for a little bit now too, but hopefully I can get to it this month. And the cover itself is giving all the witchy vibes, you know, so yeah. Okay, and then the last book on my TBR is Impractical Magic by Emily Grimore. And now with this one, I cannot remember what the premise is about, but it sounded really interesting, and it's definitely a book that is on my TBR, and it's giving all the witchy vibes. And yes, that is it really. It's giving all the witchy vibes, and it's a romance, I think. Okay, guys, so those are all the books that are on my current TBR, my October TBR, and it's giving very fall, it's giving very spooky vibes, and I'm in spring, okay? In South Africa, we're currently in spring, and I mean, I love spring, I love it. I love that we're in spring, I love that we're over the cold seasons because I wouldn't necessarily say I get like seasonal depression. I think I'm depressed all year round. But in the winter time, I don't like the winter time. It's like really cold and cold. Okay, it's cold. And I mean in the summertime you can just take off your clothes and it can like help with the winter. But with the winter time you just have to keep layering clothes and putting things on. And it's just getting around is hard. Like I hardly leave the house, but just in winter I just don't like the winter time. So I'm happy that it's spring, but I was getting a little bit of like FOMO from all the fall videos that I've been seeing and all the spooky vibes. It is also like Halloween, which we don't really do much here, but you know. So yes, I hope you guys really like this video. I hope you guys will read some of these books along with me this month. And I am doing a Vlogtober where I am posting every single day for the month of October. And I will really try to post every single day for the month of October, but I can already tell with like the weekends that are following that I'm going to have a busy couple of weekends. Okay, it's going to be a very busy month in terms of like the events that are happening in my life and things of that nature. So yeah, but I really am going to try, and it's like really been a struggle already and on like day 3, but it's been a struggle already because the editing has to be done chop chop snap snap. And yes, but anyway, enough rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys will like, I hope you guys will comment down below. If you made it to the end of the video, let me know which season you guys are in, where you stay, and yes, that is all, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys will subscribe to my channel and join my little family. And until next time, guys, bye.